I absolutely love that intro music. It gets you psyched. And I got to tell you, when I turn 47 someday, I want to be just like Stuart Cink. Welcome into another edition of Cash Out with the Coaches, the only show where you get educated and entertained all at the same time. I am the coach, my partner, one of the great golf instructors in America today, Mr. Travis Fulton. Hello, sir.
Hey, how you doing, Coach? You ready for some team competition in golf?
It's a little unique. It's unique. It's one of the, well, it's not one of, it's the only team competition on the PGA Tour. It's the Zurich Classic. We'll get into that in just a few moments. And, of course, we'll do our picks, which we've been killing it on head-to-head matchups. If you've been following us on the show, don't forget our incredible partners, our sponsors from SportsPub Media. Follow them on social media. Also, go to our YouTube page, hit the subscribe button, and also turn on those notifications because you never know when new content is going to be coming right to you. But let's look back quickly, Trav. Last week, it was one of the more boring Sundays that we've had in a really, really long time on the PGA Tour because Stuart Cink built that 5-shot lead going into Sunday, and he maintained it and got the job done. And he becomes, get this, the only multi-time winner on the PGA Tour this season at 47 years old. How about that?
Well, Bryson's got 2 now, doesn't he? I think Bryson.
I don't think so.
Has 2 wins. I believe he does. Anyway.
All right. Well, he has Bay Hill, and what's the other one?
The U.S. Open, which is part of the wraparound.
The Super Season. I guess you're technically
the Super
right.
Season. Yeah, and the Super Season.
So I was incorrect, and the website I got that from.
And we're used to that here. We're used to that here on Cash Out.
Being
incorrect.
Oh, geez. Okay. Anyway, go ahead. Maybe he's the only multi-time winner over 45. How about
There you go. I'll go with that. Stuart Cink, 47. This is crazy. I mean, it really is. I mean, he is playing some fabulous golf. It's a young man's game, isn't it? Right? Well, Stuart's out there dominating these young guys right now. I mean, it wasn't even close. It was really kind of instant replay to some degree, as we saw at the Masters. Hideki gets out to the lead. No one's really challenging. I know they were kind of close 2 or 3, but Hideki really didn't feel the heat. Same thing here in Hilton Head. Cink gets out there 63 on Thursday, Friday, just incredible golf. And then he just kind of hangs on, kind of fairways, middle of the green, a lot of 2 putts. And no one really made a run out of him. Colin Morikawa really struggled. We saw Cam Smith go up there. He struggled. Corey Connors really didn't, garner enough to get up there and put pressure on him. But make no mistake, Stuart Cink is playing fabulous golf. He's hitting it long off the tee. His iron game is very, very solid. And his putting has been really, really good. And that golf course, strong iron game, strong putter, you have a chance to compete and win, as he's done now a couple different times.
We talk all the time about motivation and guys that are falling down as the Korn Ferry guys are coming up, and that you either have to really, really focus, like we talked about Lee Westwood, refocusing and reinvigorating yourself, or you're going to be bye-bye because there's so many good players. I loved Stuart Cink's interview. I believe it was after Saturday's round, and he was asked, why are you playing so well, or why do you enjoy it so much? And he says, I don't want to stop having golf as my job. And he said, the young guys that are coming out here, they're not getting any worse. It was a very, very insightful interview. And also he said, my son, who now has caddied twice on wins this season, said he's not just my son being a caddy. Because, everybody made that was the story of the week. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
But he said he's a professional caddy, and he could caddy for anybody out here on the PGA Tour. I give his son as much credit as anything for keeping his dad calm, engaged, all the talking they did, all the great sound that we got. And I thought that was a really, really big deal to maintain what you said over the weekend and understanding what he had to do and where he had to hit his golf shots.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some comfort there for Stuart, having his son there. And he certainly had a lot to say. And there was dialogue between Stuart and his son. It bode very well for Stuart. So you usually don't see that much dialogue between player and caddy. I think being the dad and the son, there was probably more than you would usually see, in that situation. But certainly the combination has been very good. It's working. Stuart looks relaxed. He looks like he's out there kind of just free willing it. And when you can do that with those skill sets, when you're just, I don't want to say playing on house money. He's not, I'm sure he's very well off and comfortable, but there's a fire there for Stuart. As you were mentioning, he wants to keep his job and he wants to prove something. And I think probably having his son and their family watching him play, kind of like Tiger and his kids, he wants to show them like, look, dad still has it. So there's some motivation there. He's working out. I think that's contributed to some of the distance gains. He probably feels good. And when you can hit it 300 plus and you still have a good iron game, look, you can compete. You're going to have your good putting weeks. I think Stuart's putter, to me, the distance control, the touch, the ability to make big putts and keep the momentum in the rounds going was really impressive, because oftentimes you get older and you start your nerves and, you start kind of missing some of those and then it kind of trickles down. But not for Stuart. He just kept the pedal down, and you kind of got the feeling if someone would have made a run, he would have just let it out a little bit more.
No, I don't think there's any question about that. It was cool. His other son flew in from Wyoming, he said, or Idaho, one of those two places. He was plus 15,000. If you were smart enough to put any shekels on Stuart Cink last week, you were very, very happy at plus 15,000 to win the RBC Heritage for the third time. And he's all but guaranteed himself a spot in the Tour Championship now. That's how many points he has with that win. And it's a really cool thing to see as they move forward. Speaking of moving forward now, Mr. Travis Fulton, this week is a very unique week. Just like the match play has its own thing, the Zurich Classic now has its own thing. And for a lot of players, it's become very, very popular to play in this event because you got the top 80 players, and as far as ranking on priority, and they get to pick their partners as they go down the list. And so it makes for some really cool partnerships and some really head-scratching partnerships. But because this was canceled last year because of COVID, John Rahm and Ryan Palmer are the defending champions. They will play again together, kind of educate our people at home on what they can expect and the differences in mindset and approach for a team competition.
Well, Thursday, Saturday, best ball. That's always fun to watch when you get two high caliber players. They've got a partner. They can take that aim and let's go low. Friday, Sunday, a little more difficult, alternate shot. Not my favorite format to watch. Very difficult to play. I think that's where you probably see the strategy certainly play out more on who's teeing off on the even holes and who's teeing off on the odd holes. I go back and forth with teams. Like on one hand, you can say, you like teams, two guys that play a similar game, right? They're kind of both long, iron game, yardages are about the same, short game, but they just kind of have that similar feel, like a Finau and a Champ. And then on the other side, you're like, well, maybe it's more complementary golf, right? Where you get a guy like who can hit it straight off the tee, and then you have a really good iron player, and then a guy that's a really good putter. You can kind of complement ball striker putter, maybe. Like maybe a Chris Kirk and a Brendan Todd would come to mind. So there's two different styles that I kind of go back and forth on. We've seen both play out very well here. I like this course a lot, Coach. Another Pete Dye design, TPC Louisiana. A lot of water, a lot of sand. I do think distance plays out more here at this course than we saw last week, with more of the forced layups at Hilton Head, which is another Pete Dye design, like Sawgrass, another Pete Dye design, which will kind of take the driver out of your hands more. Not so much here. The driver can get in your hands. I think distance plays out 7,400 yards. And there's been some renovations here since we've seen it in 2019. So it'll be interesting to see how some of those play out. I like the course. It's not my favorite tournament, but it's always interesting to see the big names miss the cut as we've seen in years past. And then those names and those teams that you're thinking, really, do they even know each other? Like, you don't even think they would be a team, run up the leaderboard and win, like a Blix and Smith, which was kind of a bit of a head scratcher from me a few years ago.
Yeah, it is. You bring up a good point. And this is, just so everybody at home knows, there's no changing as far as points and money is concerned, but basically they combine the positions. So basically, the team that finishes first will share the first and second place FedEx Cup points. So they each would get 400 because they share 800. and then they would do the same with the prize money. They would share first and second place, and that's how they do it as they go down the list. So there is still a lot to play for here. And wouldn't it be funny, Trav, if, like, say this was where Tony Finau got his next win? I think that'd be kind of ironic that even he couldn't do it in a singles competition in the continental United States. It just, there's a lot of storylines because he will be in the field this week.
Yep.
And there's a lot of big names in the field this week. When you look at some of the former champions here, Horschel not playing with the same partner. Kevin Kisner and Scott Brown, they lost some playoffs to Cam Smith and Jonas Blix. So you're seeing some partnerships that have been, and then you're seeing some new partnerships that will make no sense to anybody, but we could have a really big win for somebody. Because remember when Brooks Koepka brought his brother into the event to try to get him some play on the PGA Tour. So a lot of different things are in play here, but I think it's really, really hard to handicap, don't you? It's hard. It's hard to pick a winner. It's almost impossible.
It's hard in general, right? Just with one person, and now you put a second involved, and you start having teams like Graham McDowell and Matthew Wallace. Matthew Wallace playing beautiful golf. Graham McDowell, not so much beautiful golf. Charlie Hoffman, probably one of the hottest players on the PGA Tour right now, is with Nick Watney, who's missed 13 straight cuts. You have teams like that. It's like, what do you make of that? How do you handicap those types of teams that has a player that's playing well, and then a guy that's just like, he just can't do anything right?
Do you think that at some point during the year that you had guys calling other guys trying to get them to pick them as partners? Because that's what I would do. Yeah. This has the feel of a fifth grade kickball game where there's like two dudes that are the last ones picked. They're like, I'm always the last ones picked. Yeah. I think there could potentially be some hurt feelings over the fact that you might be the last person picked for this format.
I think so. There's some just strange teams to me, I look at Bubba and Scheffler. Like, how'd that go down? What?
What about Morikawa and Wolf? Wolf is playing. I understand the thought process.
Yeah,
but Wolf is playing so bad, and Morikawa essentially had the pick of the litter. He is so high up the priority rank right now. He could have picked anybody.
Yeah,
and he chose to pick Matthew Wolf.
I guess friendship over cash.
I would probably do the same thing. I think when I played that much and now all my exemptions are done with the major championship, he doesn't have to worry about anything. Maybe he wants to have a fun week. That's possible.
I think so. I think that's a fair point. I think some guys probably are coming into this week like, hey, let's just have fun. If we do good, we do good. If we don't, we don't. Now the competitive juices get going, things change. I get that. But there's others I think are going into this like, let's win this thing. Let's have let's go through our process, let's get this job done and get a win here on the PGA Tour. So I think you're probably getting a little bit of both, some taking it more serious than others. But make no mistake, you tee off and all of a sudden you put some birdies together and you see your name up there, top 10, and all right, things start to change a little bit as far as the intensity level.
Well, what about the teams that are like a John Rahm and Ryan Palmer? When they won it 2 years ago, Ryan Palmer was doing nothing. And all of a sudden, he's winning $750,000, $800,000, and he's getting all these FedEx Cup points. He's getting all these exemptions. And there are teams like that where you got a really big name and another guy that's not so big. It could change not only their season, it could change their careers with a win this week. And I like those kind of storylines, like what we saw 2 years ago.
Well, I think the one that really fits that bill, Coach, is Victor Hovland and Christopher Ventura. Oklahoma State duo.
Example.
Hovland is the name. Ventura's trying to find his way. They played together. Yeah. Maybe this is what Ventura needs. Maybe he needs kind of Hovland to help bring him along a little bit, take him up to that next level of intensity and put him in the fire here late on a Sunday and see how he does. So you kind of have those as well. But that's an interesting team because Ventura is, Ventura is a good putter. I think he struggles a little bit, from an accuracy standpoint, but he's a good putter. And I think he struggles a little bit around the greens. That's a team, probably Ventura and Hovland, that better not miss a green because someone's going to have to chip it. Although Hovland has been showing some improvement there.
Can you
an interesting
imagine?
dynamic, though.
Can you imagine if they're sitting around trying to figure out who's teeing off on what holes in the four? And they're like, oh, no, no.
Yeah.
Somebody
Yeah.
has to.
I'm not
Somebody
chipping
has
over
to.
there.
Oh my gosh. That's really, really cool. I just like the storylines that can play out this week. And
Yep.
you bring up a great point. All right, let's get into our picks now, because this was very, very difficult on a lot of levels. It was tough to pick because there's so many names. And also our producer, Cody, to try and figure out how you get all these names in the graphics. That's also a difficult thing to do, especially with some of these names that we picked this week. So here's what we do. We spread out $100 every single week. We want you to play along with us at home at SportsPub Media. Send us in your picks. Also, you can put them on the comment section at our YouTube page. 2 head-to-head matchups, a top 20 pick. We pick a tournament winner, and we both were looking really good last week for 36 holes. And then a wild card play can be anything on the board. So, Trav, let's start with your first head-to-head matchup this week at the Zurich Classic.
Little international affair here.
A little flavor.
Matthew Wallace, minus 114 in the DraftKings Sportsbook over Noren and Norlander. I'm not sure if I'm more excited about actually the way that Wallace is playing or just how bad Norlander is playing and the reason why I picked this. Matthew Wallace on a nice run. And he's been very good to me in the betting world here over the last 3 weeks. 3rd at Valero, 34th at the Masters, 18th at RBC. He's really striking the ball. I mean, I forgot just how beautiful of a swing and ball striker he is. And he's kind of reminded me over the last 3 weeks, hitting a well off the tee and really strong in the approach game. And we know that travels from course to course. And I think he'll do well here. His putting hasn't been great, but it hasn't been bad. He's had his moments, which kind of can be good in these types of scenarios, right? Where you just put those birdies together and hopefully ham and egg with your partner. I think he probably sat McDowell down and says like, hey dude, like, let's kind of get this thing turned around a little bit. All I need you for is just like a few shots and a few birdies. And you know what? McDowell to me seems like a gamer, right? Like he's played in all the big tournaments, won a US Open, Ryder Cups. He knows Wallace is playing well, and he knows he needs to pick it up. And if he does, they have a chance. Norlander on the other side, my goodness, has
how fast he
fallen
falls.
off of the boat. 4 missed cuts in his last 4 tournaments. His ball striking is not good, and the dude couldn't putt it into a basketball hoop. I mean, it is bad. Noren, not much better. Man, I think Wallace McDowell, it's an easy one here. I'd be surprised if Noren and Norlander make the cut.
I can tell you, I have a little bit of insider information. Graham McDowell has actually been working with Fast Eddie Fernandez to get more length on his game, and then in return helping Fast Eddie. And I can tell you that Graham is more motivated than ever. He's in that 40-some category now that he understands he has to pick it up or he's going to be on the outside looking in. So I like this pick because he is motivated. I think that's exactly what he needs. All right, my first head-to-head matchup this week looks a little something like this. I went with 2 guys that have very similar games against 2 guys that I just don't think will be that motivated to play that hard this week. Keegan Bradley and Brendan Stiller are 2 guys that every single time that they tee it up, they're ready to go. They're fired up. Bradley is one of those gamers that I love. He doesn't always play well, but he's always ready. And Ustays and the Schwartzel are kind of like, I won my major championship. I'm still kind of playing. Sometimes I play well, sometimes I don't. And I'll take intensity over ho-hum every single day of the week in a head-to-head matchup, in a team concept. I love this number, and the fact that I'm getting plus 100 is even better. Buck it, bank it, let's go.
Yeah, I agree with this one. I'll tell you why here later on in the show. I think that's a good bet.
All right. Second head-to-head matchup for Mr. Travis Fulton looks like this. What do you like, Trav?
There he is, my boy.
Oh, your
Tony,
boy!
who could it be now with his boy Cameron Champ. And I can't wrap my arms around Scotty Scheffler and Bubba Watt. I mean, how did that go down? Like,
I would love to know.
You know, like standing in line, like one of them turned around, like, hey, dude, what's up? Like, you want to play in the Zurich next year? Like, you know, that kind of thing. Like, you know, it was like awkward and like kind of, okay, yeah, sure, let's do it. You know, and so you kind of talk yourself into it. Like, this is a good idea. Right. Like Scheffler, Watson, they're going to go playing. And here's how it's going to go down, right? First round, these 2, like they're going to they're going to go out and make some birdies because what they do. And they're going to leave a couple out there. And like, Coach, when you're hanging with someone for a long time and you're not sure, and like there's a couple little things happening, little signs, and you're like, it's not that big of a deal. We're fine. We're cool. We made some birdies. We're T15. Let's just come back. So like round 2, alternate shot, good start. You run up the leaderboard. And then that weird thing happens again. You're like, where'd that come from? Right. But you're okay. You make the cut. All right, we'll come back on Saturday. And then you come out on Saturday, and that weird moment in those rounds happens in best ball. And you know what that is? You go par, 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 par.
And all these teams are running by you. You just see everybody running by you.
And at that moment, they know they're out of it. Dinner plans are canceled on Saturday. And you're checking your Rolodex on Sunday and who you're going to play with next year. Now, Finau and Champ, on the other hand, I mean, this is like, there can be no wrong here with these two. I mean, they're going to go out and they're going to be like, hey, guy, let's hit some good shots. Mm-hmm. Let's make some birdies, milkshakes for everybody afterwards. And if we win, no pressure. And they have the opportunity to go out and make a ton of birdies, these two. Now, we know there's a lot of mistakes in there with Champ. Finau could probably, kind of hold him up a little bit, but these two probably more than any other team have a chance to go out and kind of overpower the golf course. We kind of make fun of Finau because he can't win, but make no mistake, the dude falls out of bed and makes 6 birdies. So I think Finau and Champ over what is just a very odd team to me, Scheffler and Watson.
I think Finau is made for this format. I think his game is exactly why he's also going to be a great Ryder Cup person for the next 5 to 6 Ryder Cups, because of exactly what you said. Scheffler and Watson, they could come out and win this thing. They're that good. They're that talented. But I have a tendency to lean more towards your line of thinking. And I would back Finau. And Champ also played pretty well last week too. Yeah. He had which tells you he's in charge of his iron play too, because he is handcuffed at the RBC Heritage. So the fact that he played well there, that says a lot to me. And so I like them this week. So, all right, my second head-to-head matchup looks a little something like this. I'm going to go with the defending champions. The fact that I only have to lay a quarter over Xander Schauffele and Patrick Cantlay, I'll take it all day. Yes, Xander played well at the Masters, but Patrick Cantlay hasn't been playing well anywhere. So you're going to give me the defending champions, two guys who are as competitive as you are ever going to find on the PGA Tour. And I'll have to lay 125. These guys could repeat. They're the betting favorites at plus 750. And so this to me was a layup when I saw this number. I'll take them all day straight to the pay window.
Yep. Yeah, I think Rahm and Palmer could defend this thing pretty easily. Cantlay, a little bit of a slide right now, but he's going to turn it around. It's just win. But it's always concerning when you see a top player like a Cantlay, when you see declines in every part of the game, not just one. It's kind of filtering throughout the bag. So something's going on there with Cantlay. When does he turn it around? Schauffele certainly showed some form at the Masters.
Mm-hmm. Other than 16. 16 is going to haunt him potentially for years and years to come. All right, our top 20 pick for this week. Remember, it's got to be both guys. Top 33 in ties, 33 teams in ties make the cut. That's important to remember when you're making the top 20 pick. So who do you like here, Trav?
Well, I'm going to go with Keegan Bradley and Brendan Steele. There's that team again.
Interesting.
There's that team again.
Yes.
I think this is a good team. I really do. I think their skills kind of complement each other here very, very well. You know what you're getting with Keegan is very polished ball striking. He is hitting the ball exceptionally well. And I tell you, I'm very encouraged by Keegan in what I'm seeing with the putter. I think he's starting to figure some things out with his putter, and his finishes are just slowly getting better. 10th at the Arnold Palmer, 29th at the Players, 23rd at Valero. I mean, he's starting to work himself up now consistently. He's not on the first page competing yet to win, but we're not seeing that stretch of mid-cuts because he's losing 5 or 6 to the field, which is awful putting. He's found something, and it's going with that ball striking now. So I really like the momentum he's bringing into Brendan Steele, who didn't play great at Valero, but we know is a solid player, going to keep it in front of him, and he can fill it up with the flat stick too. So in particular on Bermuda Green. So these two guys, to me, I think just mesh well together. And I think with Keegan's confidence coming in, that could be enough. I'm going to put some money on this team to win as well, as kind of a dark horse in the DraftKings Sportsbook. So give me Keegan Bradley and still for sure as a top 20, but you'll probably see some win money out of me on him as well.
I think this week is going to be a very, very, for those watching at home, a very difficult week. So you got to be very, very careful on how much you bet. I would say cut your bets in half, maybe even by 75%, and just kind of take the week off. Just do a little sprinkle for fun. But it's going to be very, very hard to truly be confident in any picks this week. So be very, very careful. But I love that pick by Trav. My top 20 pick looks a little something like this. I'm going to go with a team that's played here before. They've had success here before. They lost in a playoff in 2017. Scott Brown never shows up any other time than in this event. I don't know why. I don't know why. But he plays well here. And Kevin Kisner is the ultimate bulldog, no pun intended. You give me plus money with these two, and they're one of the few teams that have history together. So they're not going to have to stumble through the first 2 days trying to figure each other out. They already know exactly what they're going to do. The blueprint is there. The game plan is there because it worked in 2017. I think it works again this year. Give me a top 20 with plus money all day long.
Miscut.
Miscut. +8.
Miscut. It's a different Kisner. That's the difference. Brown always shows up at this is a different Kevin Kisner this year. Like
I know. I had to take a flyer though. I didn't want to take a -270, -250, something like that. I like to give variety and I like plus money. And I know players at home like plus money. So this one jumped off the screen, but I understand your concerns. I get them.
Yeah.
All. All right. What is our winner looks like this week? Because you got to have two players who are playing well. Who do you like?
I love my winners this week. I'm knocking on the door, second and third. Last couple weeks.
Good. You've been good.
And I'm gonna go Cam Smith and Mark Leishman. I told you, Coach. I think Cam Smith is playing the best golf of his career right now in all phases of the game. He looks really good to win. We know Cameron Smith's been up there. I mean, he's been top 20 and his name's all over the first two pages of the leaderboard.
Mm-hmm.
But he hasn't won because he has those moments where he hits a couple really bad shots and it costs him.
Yes. Yes.
And we saw it again at RBC. He went away on Saturday. I think he shot 3 over, out of nowhere. And then he comes back and fires a beautiful round on Sunday of 66. So the good news is if that happens, we want it to happen here in this team on Thursday and Saturday. And Leishman, to me, like Mark Leishman is just that perfect partner. He's just kind of got that smile. He just puts out great energy, great iron player, and a great putter. And that's what you need, right? And that's what you need here. Your short game's got to save you a little bit. You can't be depending upon your short game and win this thing. Like, certainly not Thursday, Saturday.
Oh, because, God, no.
And then, but when you do alternate shot, okay, you're going to miss a few greens. So someone's going to have to step up and hit a short game shot. But if you're missing a ton of greens, I mean, you're not going to win it. So to me, I just put short game way down. Let's get the ball in front of us. Let's let these iron games go to work. And then let's make some putts, which they both can do. So I really like this form of what they're coming in. Couple Aussies here. And I just think Cameron Smith's got to get that win. Why not here in a team game with maybe just the greatest partner in the world in Mark Leishman, who's just going to who's just going to put out just great positive energy for 4 straight days.
Normally you would look at strokes gained around the green as most weeks, a vital stat. This week, if that's the case, you've missed the cut. You absolutely missed the cut. Because that's a stat you don't want to be high up on because that means you're missing greens. That means you're not making birdies. And this is a birdie fest.
Yeah.
All right. My winners this week look like this. Billy Horschel. He's won here before, but not with this partner. And Sam Burns, every week in January and February, we're pounding on this dude. He's going to win. He's going to break through. He's going to do it. This could be the week. when Sam Burns is partnered up with a guy who's won here before. He won 3 weeks ago at the WGC. Billy Horschel's got all kinds of good vibes going in his golf game right now, and he's one of the ultimate competitors. I like guys that show me every single week that they want to play, and they're not playing because a sponsor says they have to. They're not playing because the schedule says they have to, but they're playing because they want to. And that's Billy Horschel, and that is Sam Burns. And I'm getting them at plus 2,200, which I think is great value for two cats that absolutely could get the job done.
Yeah, this will be a good team. I think Sam Burns finally snapped out of his funk a little bit last week, looked a little bit more like Burns, and Horschel's playing great. He's playing good golf, and anytime you get him on Bermuda greens in the South, and like you gotta like Horschel because he
loves it.
He can go. So I think this is an interesting team, and I think if Sam can get back to where he was, they're early in the year, I think they'll be tough to beat.
Horschel loved this course before it was a team competition. He loved playing here when he was kind of a no-name. This is one of the courses that he played pretty well on before he became a FedEx Cup champion and all that good stuff happened.
Well, he won it in 2013. So he knows a thing or two about TPC Louisiana.
No doubt. All right, our final pick of the week. This could be a wild card pick. It could be anything on the board, anything that you want it to be. What do you want it to be this week, Trav?
Well, I'll stay in the SEC here. Horschel, Gator, and Sam Burns, LSU Tiger. There's your Bulldogs right there.
All right.
My boy, Chris Kirk. Kirk is a top 10, top 20 machine. It is awesome to see him back playing at the level that he used to when he won 4 times on the PGA Tour. I'm confident a win is coming. He has no weaknesses, Coach. I'm telling you. I've been saying Chris Kirk has no weaknesses in his game. He's a good driver, good iron player. His short game get a little spotty at times, but I wouldn't say it's bad. Still above average short game. And I think his putting is starting to heat up a little bit more as well. I mean, he putted beautifully in Texas, played very well at RBC last week, finishing 7th. Great Sunday round. Brendan Todd just needs to do enough with the approach game. That's it with him. And I think he'll be fine off the tee. I think he'll be fine. He's a wonderful Bermuda putter. We know that. Let's just have a solid approach game. And I think this will be a tough team. I really do. I like this team on a Friday, Sunday. I don't see them getting out of position too much. I see the double bogeys being ruled out, maybe a silly bogey here or there, but I like the way both of them roll the rock. They can save stuff. Let's just be solid in the approach game with Todd. That's the only thing that concerns me, but I just love Chris Kirk and what he's doing. I think a win is coming soon for him.
He is the poster child for quiet T7.
Oh,
quiet T9. Yeah. You never know he's there, and he comes through the field on a Sunday, shoots a 6 under, 7 under, and that's how you stack cash, and that's how you get points, and that's how you get closer to a win. And it would not surprise me if he's raising the trophy this week with his partner. All right, my final pick this week, wild card. Looks something like this. And I'm going back to the guys that you think are going to win because I think they're going to be very, very good this week. And it would not surprise me if Smith and Leishman win. And this was one of the few plus money bets that you can make with players of this caliber. Because when you only have 80 teams, then having a top 20 or a top 10 is a little harder to get plus money on. So the fact that I can get plus money and they've only got to beat 70 teams instead of 156 players, to me, I love that. I'll take this $15 on it all day. Smith Leishman. I think that you and I are coming from different perspectives, but we're meeting kind of in the same spot with our picks this week.
Well, I don't think there's not a team that has more confidence than these two. Cameron Smith clearly playing the best golf of his career. Leishman played really well at the Masters, finishing 5th. I think this team, you add up confidence. This is the team that has the most. Both guys playing really good golf. They keep it going. The way they can putt, they're going to be there.
This is kind of the last week before we hit this crazy good stretch of golf for May, June, July, and August, where it seems like every single week is a big event somehow for someone. So I am pumped. This is kind of our line in the sand event. And next week, it really starts to get humming. And players are starting to set up Trav, their schedules to really play to their strengths now that we've got the PGA coming. We've got the U.S. Open coming, and now we're back. Open Championship after that, and we're kind of back in the schedule where we should have been a year ago. And I think people will settle back in, don't you?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, you got Valspar next week. Beautiful, great course in Copperhead. Tough.
Love it.
In Florida, the wind will be blowing, and then you go up to Charlotte at Quail Hollow, which is
love it.
Just a fantastic property, and that'll be a really good field. And then AT&T Byron, and then you got the PGA Championship. So really good stretch of golf coming up here, and I'm excited. It'll be fun to see how this plays out. Mix it up a little bit. I'd love to see this, Coach. I'll end with this. I'd love to see this PGA Tour, LPGA Tour. I'd love to see man, woman,
that's
together.
The fix they need to make. That's the fix they need to make.
It's phenomenal.
And I don't want to hear anybody say that can't happen. I'm so tired of hearing that can't happen, or it won't happen, or we've got to meet to make a decision. Let's start making these decisions that are really change things. I think your suggestion would be it could quickly be the most sought after entry for PGA players. I think they would eat it up, and certainly LPGA players. They would eat it up.
Yeah, and it's a good spot in the schedule too. Really, I don't think the schedule really needs to change. I think they could. Yeah. You've got the Hilton Head after the Masters. You got Valspar next week. I think it has. There's some things in place to make it happen. I think it'd be very interesting to watch the men and women come together, and teams like Spieth and Co. and Bryson and Bianca, the two longest hitters on tour. I mean, I think it'd just be fascinating and must-watch TV to see these men and women best in the world come together.
100%. Once again, we're gonna have to send our suggestions to the PGA Tour, as the smartest cats in the room are right here on the same show.
That's it.
Get your picks in. Don't forget, follow SportsPub Media, our YouTube page, social media, Travis Fulton and the coach. Thanks to Samantha and Cody and everybody involved for making this one of the fastest growing golf betting shows in the universe. All right, you've got your marching orders. Remember, Travis Fulton, I am the coach. This is the only place every single week that you get to cash out with the coaches. Good luck.
Miscut.
See ya.